The copy has been sent for its approval. The Rajya Sabha member Shantaram Naik has requested the government to review the survey cases under which the Daboli land was recorded in the name of the Indian Navy. In case the Navy fails to produce documents that prove the same, the land would have to be transferred back to the government of Goa. The Goa government would then lease out the land to the Navy. The feasibility report on the upgradation of National Highway 17 is ready, and within 2 weeks it would be sent for approval of the Public-Private Participation Committee of the Finance Ministry. The MPs had opposed the decision of the PWD Minister Churchill Alamau to upgrade National Highway 14 using state funds and said that central government funds should be used for the same. Mr. Naik was of the opinion that the transaction of land in Goa should be regulated by amending the constitution that would enable the government to bring about legislation in the assembly. This would regulate the sale of property in Goa. The MP also had a word of advice for the tourists as he warned them against the purchase of land in Goa. He asked the tourists to capture the beauty of Goa in their eyes but not to capture the land of Goa. The Finance Minister, Mr. Dayanand Narvekar, last week inaugurated the online financial information system, which is meant to provide information from various sources through a single management information system. The system has been designed by the National Informatics Centre and in collaboration with the Goa State Centre, Porvorim. The site will be accessible to all council ministers, secretaries to the government, head of all government departments and drawing and dispersing officers of the state of Goa to monitor their concerned departmental receipts and expenditure. A system like this would help bring transparency and facilitate quicker work and flow of funds. The government has finally decided to come to the rescue of the Aam Aadmi. Pleas of the common man had for long gone on deaf ears of the officials. Finally, hard work has yielded results. The government has decided to subsidize the prices of essential commodities which will be sold at government-identified consumer and corporative outlets across the state. 3 nodal officers constituting the Director of Agriculture, Director of Civil Supplies and the Director of Joint Secretary Budget will monitor the scheme, which will be effective for about 6 months. According to the Finance Minister, Mr. Dayanand Narvekar, all ration card holders are expected to benefit from this scheme. 2 kilos of tur dal, wheat flour and green gram will be given per month and 2 litres of palm oil besides 10 coconuts per ration card at a subsidized rate. In order to allow the Aam Aadmi to exploit the scheme to the fullest, 8 vehicles of the Horticulture Department will be travelling across the villages to supply onions, tomatoes and potatoes at the wholesale rate. The Chief Minister, Mr. Digambar Kamath, has approved the modification to the interest-free loan for higher education to the students of Goa. The scheme will be open for 9 months instead of the earlier 3 months and will be extended to Goan students born outside Goa but who have studied in Goa. There has been an increase in the income limits for obtaining interest-free loans. It has been raised from 3 lakhs to 4 lakhs for parents whose children are studying in India and from 5 lakhs to 6 lakhs for parents whose children are studying abroad. Dr. Wilfred D'Souza, the NCP State President, has disapproved the statements made by MP Francisco Sardinia, saying that the Coordination Committee meeting of coalition partners had never raised the issue of dropping Finance Minister Dayanand Narvekar and PWD Minister Churchill Alamau from the cabinet. As evidence, newspaper cuttings were distributed where the headlines read, "Induct Sudin, strip Narvekar of Finance Congress NCP panel," and also featured a photograph where Francisco Sardinia is seen sitting with the Union Civil Aviation Minister Praful Patel. The Chief Minister, Mr. Digambar Kamath, said that the matter was kept on hold due to the budget session and the upcoming Karnataka polls. Mr. Eduardo Falero, Commissioner for NRI Affairs, will visit Mozambique and Kenya from the 16th to the 24th of May. Besides meeting the Goan community in both these countries, his visit would also strengthen bilateral relations between both these countries. The Indian government, under its International Cooperation Program, has set up several development projects in these countries to empower the local people. In Mozambique, a cashew processing plant has been donated, which will be done by HMT Bangalore Rehabilitation of Beira Railways. Mr. Falero has signed an agreement with the Center for Developmental Studies, Thiruvananthapuram, to study the social impact of migration and immigration. The amount for the same is expected to be Rs 20 lakhs, half of which will be borne by the Ministry for Overseas Indian Affairs and will study both immigration of Goans from Goa to outside and the immigration of outsiders into Goa. Flames destroying property along with wildlife last week engulfed an agricultural land in Sikeri Poira in Mayam village. The incident occurred at 3:30 p.m. and land belonging to Santosh Bhosle was set ablaze. The reason for the fires is still unknown, though locals say that it is possible that the labourers in the area could have led to the mishap. The fire destroyed various trees and a whole cashew plantation along with it. Loss to wildlife was also reported. Animals like rabbits, tortoises, peacocks, wild pigs and even snakes died in the mishap. Differences have cropped up between the CCP Mayor Tony Rodrigues and CCP Commissioner Sanjeev Gadkar over the demolition of illegal slums at Santanes. Daulat Havaldar has replaced Gadkar. Gadkar went ahead with the demolition of the illegal slums at Santanes despite the disapproval of the mayor. When contacted by Goa 365, Mr. Rodrigues denied the allegations of inducting the transfer of Gadkar and said that the transfer is entirely a government decision. He also clarified that the file pertaining to the illegal slums was not missing. The Shirgaon Zatra, also known as Goddess Lairai's Zatra, was celebrated in the week that went by. The most significant aspect of the Zatra is when the persons possessed by the goddess walk through the embers of the home kund. The Feast of the Holy Spirit was also celebrated in the week that went by. The feast was celebrated in Margao with great pomp and joy. The feast marks the descent of the Holy Spirit on the apostles of Jesus. The feast is locally known as Purumentachi Fest. In the past, people would stock up all the essential requirements for the upcoming monsoons. This tradition is still alive. We are heading in for a commercial break. Stay tuned.